The great hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with uneasy murmurs, voices flickering like starlight through the vast dome. Dozens of alien delegates, clad in the shimmering regalia of their worlds, circled the central star map projection, each waiting for the meeting to begin. Yet, despite the usual pomp, an undercurrent of dread rippled through the chamber, an unspoken premonition that today's summit would shatter centuries of fragile peace. High Chancellor Virex stood at the head of the council dais, his sharp eyes scanning the faces before him. The air was thick with anticipation, the silence stretching taut until a sudden alarm blared, slicing through the room like a blade. On the projection, a new symbol blinked, a vast human fleet, larger than any previously catalogued, materializing just beyond the inner rim. "You summon the Terrans," hissed a Zalari delegate, his many eyes narrowing in disbelief. The council chamber fell into stunned silence. Virex's voice was steady but cold. They did not announce their arrival. Their fleet emerged without warning, beyond all known protocols. Across the holographic expanse, the fleet's ships gleamed like shards of shattered ice, sleek, angular, and overwhelming in number. It was a spectacle born of dread and determination, a silent declaration of war cloaked in cold resolve. In the command deck of the flagship Indomitable, Commander Elias Rain stood before his panoramic viewport, the vastness of space reflected in his stone-gray eyes. His jaw clenched as he stared back at the Council's homeworld, a jewel of corruption and betrayal. Years of planning, of sacrifice, had led to this moment. The flicker of stars outside masked the weight of his promise, to remind the galaxy that humanity was neither forgotten nor broken. "Signal the Council," Elias ordered, voice low but unwavering. "Tell them, we remember." His second-in-command, Admiral Nyla Voss, gave a curt nod. "Message will be broadcast in 30 seconds. They won't like it." Elias exhaled slowly, the weight of command settling on his shoulders like the cold steel of his uniform. "They should not have gambled with our extinction." Back in the council chamber, Ambassador Talivan of the Zalari leaned forward, her delicate tendrils trembling. She had seen Earth's downfall, watched helplessly as the council abandoned humanity to secure their own fragile peace. Now, guilt gnawed at her heart. "High Chancellor, we must send envoys. This aggression could tear the galaxy apart." Virex's gaze sharpened. "Envoys? They breach sovereign space with fleets of annihilation. What makes you think diplomacy still holds any value?" Talivan's voice softened, edged with quiet resolve. "Because not all of us have forgotten what justice means." The chamber erupted into heated debate, alien voices clashing like thunderstorms over a fragile sea. The Council's fear was palpable. This was no mere threat of war. This was a reckoning long overdue. Inside the Indomitable, Elias paced the bridge. Every ship under his command carried the legacy of a planet razed, of families torn apart. His own mother had perished in the fires of that betrayal, a memory etched in every decision he made. A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. Nyla approached, her expression unreadable. "Commander, the fleet is ready to engage if ordered. But morale is fragile. Many still want to burn their enemies to ash." Elias met her gaze, the flicker of pain masked by steely resolve. "We fight for more than vengeance, Admiral. We fight for the memory of those who were denied justice. Let them fear our resolve, not our wrath." The bridge hummed with tense anticipation as the first message from humanity crackled across galactic frequencies. "To the Galactic Council, you cast us into oblivion. You chose silence while Earth burned. We have returned, not to beg for mercy, but to demand justice. We remember." A heavy silence followed, broken only by the faint hum of distant stars. On the Council's world, Virex's lips thinned. "This changes everything." Talivan's eyes glistened. "Perhaps it changes everything for the better." Outside, the human fleet held position, an unyielding shadow on the horizon. The galaxy had ignored humanity's fall once, now it would face their rise. The council chamber had emptied, but the echoes of outrage lingered like smoke in the air. High Chancellor Virex retreated to his private chambers, the weight of the unexpected challenge pressing down on him. His fingers traced the rim of an ancient goblet, crimson wine shimmering beneath the low light, but the taste was bitter, far from the comfort he sought. "Your presence disturbs the galaxy's fragile balance," Virex muttered to himself. His voice was a rasp, layered with both frustration and fear. Humanity's return was no mere ripple, it was a tidal wave threatening to sweep away decades of uneasy diplomacy. A subtle chime signaled an incoming message. Without hesitation, Virex activated the holocommunicator. The face that materialized was unfamiliar, yet commanding, Commander Elias Rain, standing firm on the bridge of the Indomitable. "High Chancellor," Elias began, his voice steady yet resolute, "we did not come to negotiate. We came to reclaim what was stolen from us. You and your council abandoned humanity to extinction. Now, we will reclaim our place, by force if necessary." Virex's eyes narrowed. "Commander Rain, such aggression will only bring ruin upon all. You risk igniting a conflict that the galaxy cannot endure." Elias's gaze hardened, the shadow of loss and resolve etched deeply into his features. "We accepted ruin once. Never again." Before the conversation could deepen, the connection severed, leaving silence heavier than any spoken word. On board the Indomitable, tension simmered beneath the disciplined surface. Admiral Nyla Voss stood by the viewport, observing the swirling nebulae beyond. The vibrant colors belied the turmoil within the crew. Years of exile, of watching the galaxy turn its back, had carved scars far deeper than any visible wound. "Commander," Nyla said quietly, turning to Elias, "our fleet's ready. But the men and women aboard are haunted. Not all seek glory, some thirst for vengeance." Elias's jaw tightened. "I understand their pain. But our mission demands more than retribution, it requires discipline, purpose. We must be the embodiment of what humanity once was, resilient, strategic, united." Nyla nodded, respect flickering in her eyes. "A difficult path, but one only we can walk." The command deck hummed with a mix of anticipation and restraint. Outside, the vast assembly of human vessels waited, poised on the brink of a new era. Meanwhile, Ambassador Talivan returned to her quarters, the burden of her conscience weighing heavily. She had lived through humanity's fall, witnessed their plea for aid fall on deaf ears. Now, she faced a painful reckoning. Her tentacles trembled as she activated her personal communicator. "Virex, we cannot ignore their return. We abandoned an entire species to preserve our own power. How do you expect me to stand before my people?" The Chancellor's voice was cold, yet tinged with rare vulnerability. "You know what's at stake. The Council is fractured. Many fear that supporting humanity could mean war none of us can afford." Talivan's resolve hardened. "Then perhaps it's time to ask whether peace built on betrayal is truly peace at all." Back on the Indomitable, Elias convened with his senior officers. The holographic table flickered, displaying the Council's homeworld, an intricate web of political and military installations. "We strike decisively," Elias declared, voice sharp as steel. "Not to conquer, but to remind. Each ship we disable, every stronghold we reclaim, will send a message. Humanity refuses to be erased." Lieutenant Ria Malkin, his tactical officer, spoke up. "Commander, we must anticipate a response. The Council's fleets are vast and experienced. They will not yield easily." "Agreed," Elias replied. "We have trained for this. Our strength is in our unity and resolve. And in the shadows, there are allies who remember Earth's sacrifice." A murmur of curiosity rippled through the room. Elias continued, "Not all in the galaxy support the Council's betrayal. Some will stand with us, once they understand our purpose." The days that followed were a tense dance of preparation. The Indomitable's corridors thrummed with focused energy, engineers calibrating weapons, strategists poring over star maps, medics tending to crews burdened by memories and uncertainty. At night, Elias found brief solace in the ship's observation deck, gazing into the infinite expanse. The stars glittered cold and distant, yet within their light, he found purpose. Nyla joined him silently, the quiet between them a testament to shared burdens. "Do you ever wonder if we'll be seen as saviors or destroyers?" Elias's eyes did not waver from the stars. Perhaps both. History remembers those who dared to fight back. A sudden alert shattered the comm, a distant, unannounced transmission intercepted by the ship's sensors. The Council's response. "Commander," Nyla said, voice tight, "they're mobilizing. Their fleets are moving to intercept." Elias's hand clenched the railing. "Then the moment we feared has arrived." The Indomitable's engines hummed deeper, the fleet poised for confrontation. Humanity's long exile had ended, but the fight for their place in the galaxy was only beginning. The hum of the Indomitable's engines filled the bridge, a steady pulse echoing the resolve of its crew. Outside the reinforced viewport, the Council's fleets loomed, sleek, lethal, and overwhelming in number. The distant stars seemed to dim under the shadow of impending conflict. Commander Elias Rain stood at the command console, eyes sharp, mind razor-focused. This was more than a battle for territory, it was a reckoning, a chance to reclaim humanity's dignity and rewrite their place in the cosmic hierarchy. Yet, beneath the surface of his steely determination, a flicker of doubt crept in. Could they truly stand against such a formidable force? Admiral Nyla Voss approached quietly, her presence a grounding anchor. "Commander, the tactical readouts show the Council fleet is dividing into 3 distinct wings. They're attempting to encircle us." Elias nodded, fingers flying over the console. "We'll have to outmaneuver them. Focus on the eastern flank, Rhea, prepare the interceptors for rapid deployment." Lieutenant Rhea Malkin's voice crackled through the comms. "Interceptors ready and standing by. We'll hit them before they realize what's coming." The ship's hull shuddered as the first missile streaked into the void, a fiery comet against the cold backdrop of space. Sensors flared alarms as the Council's fleet responded with precision strikes, targeting the Indomitable shields. From the secondary command post, Communications Officer Dara Lin relayed incoming messages intercepted from the Council. "They're broadcasting a warning, Commander. Cease hostilities or be destroyed." Elias allowed a brief smile, bitter but unwavering. "Tell them we've heard their threats before." Amid the chaos, the crew moved like a well-oiled machine, engineers recalibrating damaged systems, medics tending to those injured in sudden shocks, and tactical officers adjusting strategies on the fly. The ship's corridors thrummed with urgency, punctuated by the steady beeping of consoles and sharp commands. In the midst of this, Elias's second-in-command, Captain Saria Holt, pulled him aside. Her gaze was fierce, tinged with exhaustion. "Elias, we can't sustain this pace forever. Our supplies are finite, and morale is fraying." He met her eyes, the weight of command heavy on his shoulders. "I know. But surrender is not an option. Not after everything humanity has endured." Saria's expression softened, respect shining through. "Then we fight, not just with weapons, but with everything we have left, hope, strategy, and unity." Far from the battlefield, Ambassador Talivan stood before a gathering of alien diplomats. Her tentacles twitched as she addressed the room, voice steady but impassioned. "Humanity's return is not a threat, but a testament to resilience. We abandoned them in fear and short-sightedness. Now, we must decide whether to perpetuate that betrayal or extend a hand in reconciliation." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Some faces showed sympathy, others, deep-seated suspicion. A stern voice cut through the murmur. "Ambassador, aligning with humanity risks destabilizing the entire galaxy." The Council's decision was clear. Talivan met the gaze without flinching. "Clarity born from fear is no clarity at all. We face a choice: preserve fragile peace built on exclusion, or embrace a future forged through courage and inclusion." Back aboard the Indomitable, the battle escalated. The bridge was a storm of flashing lights and urgent orders. Sensors detected an incoming fleet attempting to breach the ship's flank. "Rhea, deploy all interceptors now," Elias commanded. The hangar bay doors slid open with a mechanical groan, and the sleek interceptors surged forth, darting into the void like swarms of metallic hornets. Their engines left trails of iridescent blue as they engaged the Council ships in a deadly dance of lasers and evasive maneuvers. The bridge crew held their breath as the battle waged, a blur of light and shadow, destruction and survival. For every council ship disabled, the humans paid with scars, wounded vessels, shaking crews. Suddenly, the Indomitable rocked violently. Alarms blared as a massive explosion tore through the starboard hull. "Shields down to 40%, shouted the tactical officer. "Hull breach in Section 12. Elias gritted his teeth. "Damage control teams, mobilize immediately. We cannot afford to lose this ship." Nyla's voice was calm but resolute. "Commander, sensors show a strange energy signature, unknown to our scans. It's interfering with our systems." "What?" Elias frowned. Could it be a new weapon? Before anyone could answer, the ship shuddered again, this time more violently. The lights flickered, and an eerie silence fell for a heartbeat. Then, the voice came over the comms, cold, mechanical, unmistakably alien. "This is the Sovereign Fleet. Cease your resistance or face annihilation." Elias met Nyla's eyes. The moment had arrived, far beyond anything they had anticipated. He lifted his voice, steady and defiant. "We will never bow to fear or intimidation. Humanity fights for survival and honor. Let them come." The Indomitable lurched forward, engines roaring to full throttle. The void around them ignited with fire and fury, a testament to humanity's refusal to fade quietly into the cosmic night.